Recall that NERC had on Wednesday announced the approval of an increase in electricity tariff of brand A customers from about 66 naira to 225 naira per kilowatt for the various distribution companies, Disco, in the country. An increase of 240% was made. Vice Chairman NERC, Muslim Hussein, had also emphasized that the increase in tariff will only affect customers enjoying 20 hours power supply and above across the country. Good afternoon if you're just joining us. This is Midday Discourse on Global TV. I am Samuel Odi. We'll be going on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be introducing my guest who would be telling us what the difference between brand A users and brand B users would be. Please do stay with us. Welcome if you're just joining us. This is Global TV, and we're having, this is Midday Discourse on Global Television. My name is Samuel Odi, and I'll be introducing my guest at this time, who will be telling us what the difference between brand A users and brand B users of the electricity board would be. Hello, good afternoon, sir. Mr. Fadikbe, who is the former GM Community Communication in AADC. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon. It's not community communication, but corporate communications. Good afternoon.
Yes, former GM Corporate Communication. Thank you for correcting that, sir. How are you doing, sir?
Well, I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. You know, there's been an increase for brand A users. So, sir, we want to know what's the difference between the brand A users and brand B users?
Well, electricity customers have been categorized into 5 different bands, B-A-N-D-S, bands. And there is band A, band B, band C, band D, band E. And they have been categorized according to the number of hours of supply that is made available to them. So you have band A that is made up of those who have access to 20 hours of power supply and above. And then you have band B, those who have up to 16 hours and above, up to 20, but not up to 20 hours. Then you have band C, those who have up to 12 hours and up to, but not up to 16 hours. And up to 8 hours, but not up to 12 hours. And then you have band E, those who have up to 4 hours, but not up to 8 hours. Please let me correct something. I am not GM Corporate Communications AEDC. I have left AEDC, please. So please correct the identity on your scroll. Thank you very much, so that I am not accused of impersonation and I am not taken to be speaking for AEDC. I'm not speaking for them, and I'm no longer their staff. So that is the category of the bands for now. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead. I'm hearing you now.
Okay. So, sir, you said they are categorized bands from A to like D. So, who are those band A's, and why well, like with this increase now, this hike now, is it going to affect the other bands that don't get the same hours of electricity consumption?
Well, those who are in band A are majorly those who enjoy or who have access to electricity for 20 hours and above.
Are they corporate or residential? Like, are they commercial or residential? This band
residential
A.
and it's both residential and commercial.
Okay.
It's both residential and corporate. So maybe your organization, for instance, given your location, maybe you are enjoying up to 20 hours and above, you will be among those who are in band A and will be affected by the new tariff, which is about 255 naira or thereabouts. You'll be affected by the new tariff. So, but for now, those who are in band B, band C, band D, and band E, they are not affected.
Okay.
They constitute 85% of the consumer population, and that 85% consumes 60% of the power that is available at any point in time. But right now, they are not affected. Whether they will be affected in future, we cannot say. But we can say confidently that for now, they are not affected by the tariff. And the exclusion of that category is deliberate because government is conscious of the fact that the economy, I mean, people are going through challenges with the economy in trying to put the economy in the right direction. Government has taken certain measures that is having some harsh impact on the people, and government in an attempt to cushion the effect of that impact has also excluded that 85%, which is made up of those in band B, band C, band D, and band E.
Okay, but what can be done for these persons in band B, C, D, and E for them to be getting that same amount of power, electricity? What can be done for them to be getting that same level, long hours of electricity supply?
What can be done is to improve their own network in such a way that they can also have access to 20 hours and above. And NEC has made...
Sorry, are we looking at the government to improve this or the distribution companies?
No, the distribution companies, because now that they are expected to, now that their revenue is expected to increase, they should also be able to invest in the network, invest in their infrastructure such that the people or customers in band B to D can have access to more electricity in terms of hours, and then they can now be moved to the band A feeder.
Oh, okay. So now, at this point, now, obviously, you said it's commercial and residential people that are in band A. How does this, affect the Nigerian economy generally? That's in the power sector.
Well, I think generally, if you look deeper than the surface, if you are not carried away by the percentage increase and you look deeper than the surface and you look at the data, taking statistics from other sources, this is supposed to help the Nigerian economy. How? Now, particularly for those who are in manufacturing, industries and things like that, most of them, because of the lack of availability, they run on diesel, they run on petrol. And we know that diesel is about 1,700 now. So if you have to use the same quantity of diesel to produce the same amount of energy, comparing it with a public power supply, you'll be paying about 600 plus. But now government is saying pay less than pay 255 or so. Yes, pay 255. So I think it's a plus because it will reduce their overhead on energy. So it is good for the economy from that perspective.
So, okay, a lot of manufacturers actually left Nigeria, but now the Ministry of Manufacturing are looking to start building cars again in Nigeria. So how does this, affect or impact them resuming production?
Well, I didn't get that question, please.
I said, back a few years ago, we had infrastructure, that's manufacturing companies who had to leave the country because of lack of power supply and all of that. But now there has been a hike, and is there a promise that there is always going to be power supplies, given the fact that there has been a hike? There's a hike now in the price for all these commercial areas.
Well, the essence of the hike is to make sure that the sector operators are able to invest more, remove the subsidy which government says it cannot carry again, and allow the sector to charge what you want to call a cost-reflective tariff, and then be able to invest in the network so that you can attract more investors into the economy. I know that when Mr. President came in, he went around looking for investors to bring in their funds to come and invest in this country. And lack of power supply is one of the major factors that drove a lot of companies out of this country. So with this tariff, which is an incentive for operators in the power sector to invest in the network, and with improvements in power supply, of course, it should be an attraction for investors to come into the country. So again, it's a win-win situation for all of us.
Okay, who stands to benefit the most in this hike? Because now that we are having a lot of investors, there are some poor Nigerians who are also part of this band A hike. How do poor businesses, maybe probably startups, well, how do they tend to survive with this hike, and given the economic challenge that the country is facing right now?
Well, every Nigerian is a beneficiary of this tariff. In terms of startups, I know that last year the government announced different packages for different levels of economic activities. Startups, like you said, I think government said it was going to make 50 billion available from which they can draw funds. And then those who are not startups but have been in business for some time, they also have their own financial package prepared by government. So fund and using it to start their own business, and then of course weather through the challenges of running a business and all of those associated issues, and then see how far they can go. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's a win-win situation for everybody, and unless we take certain drastic decision, we may not be able to understand the extent of how much we can go through situations of this nature and get better for it. This is a child of necessity, and unless we are ready to bite the bullet, we may not be able to make the required progress. The power sector has been challenged extensively by the issue of liquidity, and it has in the sector. This is a major breakthrough, which I think should attract a lot of investors and bring improvements in the power sector.
Talking about bringing improvements, these startups now, you said like 50 billion, around 50 billion has been laid aside. Most of these startups always come out to say that this, monies don't really get to them. So how can it be tracked to see if they've gotten? And then in the near future, what do we expect? Is the tariff going to keep getting higher, or this is where it's going to stop for now?
Well, I cannot predict whether the tariff will be frozen at this point. That's a function of so many factors. It's going to be a function of economic factors. It's going to be a function of government policy. For instance, what has driven the increase is basically economic factors, which include inflation, which include the cost of forex, which include the cost of gas, and several other factors that are associated with it. So what the cost of electricity is at any point in time is a function of several factors. But if there is serious competition, and then the overhead drops down, there is no reason why the tariff should not also come down. So for me, it will get to the apex and then begin to see, it will get to the plateau, and then we begin to see a drop. Look at the dollar, for instance. When this administration was operated, dollar was going up north, rising and rising. But look at the trend now. It has been coming down. In less than 1 year, it has started coming down. We got to a point where dollar was approaching 1,900 and maybe $2,000. I mean, 2,000 naira to a dollar. But now there has been a drop, and forecasters are envisaging that it will drop further down. As a matter of fact, people have been advised to go and trade up their forex now. Otherwise, they may get caught up in the economic crossfire that will make them lose a lot of their money in that area.
So, this subsidy we're talking about, is it going to be like the fuel subsidy? You know, the first subsidy was removed, and Nigerians were promised that things, you know, are going to get better, but it just seems like the economy keeps getting, you know, drained, and things keep jumping from frying pan to fire. How does this act now, this increase in tariff, how is it not going to affect those that are from band B down to E? Because now, are they being differentiated in a way that, okay, you're from this brand, and then you won't need to pay this amount? This aspect I'm looking at now is the aspect of corruption in the power sector. Hope same person that are in band B and from band B down to E won't be charged the same thing that those in band A are being charged.
No. As a matter of fact, as I speak to you now, Abuja Electricity Distribution Company has been sanctioned for charging people in band B the cost of energy for band A. In fact, they have been asked to pay 200 million naira fine. Not just that alone, they are expected to refund back to the customers that they have charged the wrong tariff. So the 89% that is left is protected. They are protected. If any of them find out that they have been charged the wrong tariff, they have a responsibility to report. So they are being protected as far as the regulatory commission is concerned, and they need not any fear about it.
Okay. All right, sir. In that light, how does this improve the power sector in Nigeria? You know, who are those that stand to benefit the more? Because a lot of Nigerians are actually, you know, suffering now. Like I said earlier, small, like startup businesses. You've made mention that, you know, a certain X amount is being set aside for them by the government. But just this week, I had an interview with some startups who are saying that this X amount that has been set aside by the government is actually not coming to them. And then we should wonder how, you know, all of this now is just going to impact, and then everybody will be happy because there's serious hunger in the land.
Well, I think it's a matter of time. I'm not in government, but based on the indicators that we are seeing, I think it's a matter of time before we are able to turn the bend and be able to say that we are approaching. I mean, we are bringing Nigeria back to that period when everyone wants to live in this country. So I think we just need to be a little bit patient. For those startups who are finding it difficult to access the funds that have been set aside, I think they just need to be persistent and continue to press for that. I have not gone to look for the money, but I think government that said it will do it did not say it because it wanted to just hear its own voice. It said it because it wanted to make sure that people have some space to be able to do business and earn money, and the economy is running well and good.
Okay, so now how can the interest of this band A users, you know, be protected? Can they be getting light since they are being charged extra at this point?
Well, I think that would be a matter of statistics. NEC has said that every day they have to publish on their website the number of hours they give electricity to those who are in different categories. But I'm sure they will concentrate more on those who are in band A because of the electricity tariff. They will concentrate on them to make sure that they receive value for their money, and to make sure that those who are not in band A are not charged on the basis of band A and exploited. So everybody is protected. Everybody can be sure that I just told you some few minutes ago that Abuja Electricity Distribution Company has been fined for regulatory disobedience, and that's exactly what we are going to be doing now to ensure that the Discourse are performing according to their service level commitments.
Okay. Now, how do Nigerians know which bands they belong to?
No, I think that's a simple thing. When you want to buy, for those who buy online, I think it will reflect when you want to buy, and then you can always go to your service provider to find out the band you belong to. I know that in Abuja Electricity there is a link that you can click on to check your band. So, and I think that we're in a technology-driven age. I mean, Discourse should invest in that technology to enable customers to access. I mean, I'm talking to you. I didn't have to come to your studio now. It's because you have invested in technology. The same thing Discourse are expected to do. NEC, for instance, is monitoring the activities of the Discourse through their technology. So the Discourse are expected to also invest in technology.
Okay, sir, what significance does this hold, in your own opinion?
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
What, in your own opinion, what does this hold? Is it going to be sustainable, or it's going to be a rise and a fall kind of, initiative?
What is going to be sustainable? The tariff?
Yes, like people getting, consistent power supply.
Well, yes, it should be sustainable, because I'm expecting that Discourse will now concentrate on the improvement of their network and bring in more people into the band A so that they can also have access to more funds and then improve their service to the people. I mean, it's an incentive if they look at it very closely, and if they can take advantage of it, it's an incentive.
Okay, with this increase now, there are some. Is it looking as if that those that are not in band A are going to suffer, not having power supply as they used to? Because with this hike now for band A, I'm sure a lot of attention will be paid more to the band A users. So is this like a scheme to draw a lot of people out of their bands to band A, so these private investors would be able to make more profit?
In the first instance, there is nothing wrong with making profits when you are an investor. As a matter of fact, Section 34 of the new Electricity Act gives NEC the opportunity to allow the investor to recover his capital, and then to recover all of his capital and then make a little profit so that the business can be a going concern. So there's nothing wrong with making profits. What is wrong is making excessive profits. Now, that is one. Number two, in terms of the market, it is expected that as Discourse recover more revenue, they will improve their infrastructure, and as they improve their infrastructure, they will be able to bring more people from band A to band B. See, the earlier everybody gets to band A, the better for us. The earlier every customer is treated as a band A customer, meaning that everybody is getting electricity 20 hours and above, and everybody should look forward to getting electricity for 20 hours to 24 hours. That is what will further drive the economy. Electricity is a catalyst for economic growth and development. So this idea of categorizing is not the best. Everybody should have access to electricity the same amount of time. But because of our level of development, that's why the arrangement is such that there's a categorization, and then you can recover from those who have more access so that you can develop the infrastructure of those who don't have as much access, and you can bring them. So it's a gradual migration from less number of hours to higher number of hours until all of us are able to come to the fullness of the 24 hours that is available in a day. And then we can begin to talk of a night economy. So our economy will not be daytime alone or substantially in the daytime, but in the daytime and in the nighttime, 24 hours our economy is running.
So in the long run, is this a way to goodbye to the Up NEPA slogan that we all know in Nigeria? Meaning, in the long run, will we be having more lights consistent? Everybody tends to leave his or her bands to come and join band A.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Is Disco ready now? Do they have, the equipment and the facilities ready to be able to supply Nigeria 24 hours light if everybody leave their band to join band A?
A gradual process. It will not happen overnight. It's a gradual process. It's a gradual process. You don't expect that you get the money today and electricity will be available today. No, it's a gradual process. It's a development of the infrastructure. It won't happen overnight.
Okay, so has anything been done? Like, are there things on ground that show that, okay, Disco is ready to, generate like 20,000 tons of light to the nation?
Discos don't generate. It is generation companies that generate. Discos can only take electricity from transmission. So if I get your question correctly or putting your question in the right perspective, can Discos take up to 20,000 megawatts now? We don't even have 20,000 megawatts in the grid. So let's not even talk about what you don't have. You cannot be talking about doing a naming ceremony when your wife is not even pregnant, even though you are going to use space. You cannot be talking about naming ceremony when your wife is not pregnant. So we don't have 20,000 megawatts in the grid now. So we cannot be talking about Discos taking 20,000 megawatts. The 13,000 megawatts that we have in the grid, the question is, can it be available right now? Installed capacity is quite different from availability. So,
okay, because a lot of businesses now would want to move. For those that are not in band A, they will want to move to band A. So now, is the generational company, those that generate the power, are they ready to accommodate more? Because I trust Nigerian businesses, they will want to move so that they won't be lacking. So is the companies ready for them to, start having power consistently?
I'm sure the generating companies are ready. I think about some few days ago, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission passed, the eligible customers order to enable customers also have access to electricity directly from any of the market participants like transmission and generating companies. So the eligible customer order is also another way of helping to ensure that customers have access to electricity as much as they can.
Oh, okay, sir. We'll be going on a quick break, sir, please. When we come back, we'll continue on Midday Discourse. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Midday Discourse on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. We've been having a deep conversation with Mr. Bode Fadipe, who is the former GM in ASDC. Sir, are you still there? Hello, sir.
I am here.
Okay, sir. Time is not our friend. So, in your own, final words, what do you advise the Disco generational company for power and the citizens of Nigeria? What is your advice to them with this current, change? How do you advise them to take the change?
Well, I think for Discourse, I think it's very important to stress the fact that they need to be on top of their game. They need to be up and doing, because Nigerians will not take it easy with them if they don't perform. I mean, if someone is paying so much and yet he will not get service, let them know that it is no longer business as usual. So there has to be commensurate service to whatever Nigerians are paying. I think it's very, very important for us to stress that point. I think it's also important to let Nigerians know that they need to understand that this is a child of necessity, and it is an inevitable situation, and as such, we need to make sure that we have a power sector that can deliver on its mandate.
Okay, so thank you very much, sir, for your time. We'll be going on another quick break, and then when we come back, the discourse continues.
Thank you.
Yes. The determination by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to change the narrative of the power sector and making sure the citizens of Nigeria have a lot of power, it's one of the core reasons why there was this hike in tariff. So change is actually very hard to adapt to, but that is something we all must do. And then we are also going to hold the distribution companies responsible if they don't get to deliver on their own part after this hike has been imposed on Nigerians. And change is something that we are hoping to have. So with the vision of Mr. President to restore power to every nook and cranny of Nigeria, we are hoping that with this increase, we would be able to be experienced and be having more power supply in our countries, where it's going to help get us investors, businesses keeps going, and then we would have our own homegrown businesses and have our investors come invest in our country's economy and see to the blossomness of Nigerian economy. That's how much we can take today on Midday Discourse. My name is Samuel Odi, and I would see you on Monday. Thank you so much for spending time with us today.